Hey everybody, my name is William, and today we're gonna go over a basic video workflow in Adobe Premiere Rush. Let's hop right in. So we're gonna jump in the app. Once we've loaded the app, we need to start our project and ingest our footage. So I'm gonna hit this plus button down here and hit Add Media. It's gonna pop up our window where we're gonna be able to select the clips we want. Now, I wanted to make sure that we all knew that it was very easy and doable to make a great video using just your phone. So this is an all mobile workflow. This app is the exact same as if you had the app on your iPhone or Android. And I actually sourced some footage from a friend of mine that shoots a lot of video on his iPhone. So that's all the footage I'm gonna be using. Now, if you wanna follow along and edit the exact same thing I'm editing, we provided all this footage in the link below. So hop down there, grab the footage, download it. Then once you have it downloaded, come back and we'll hop back in. You're gonna be able to select your footage here and then you're gonna hit Create Project. Now I already created and ingested all this, so I have this set up right over here. So this is all the footage that I grabbed. There's a lot of it. It's a lot of outdoors stuff, which is super fun. So what we're gonna do, first things first, we're gonna watch through it. Oh, looks like he has some slow-mo footage in here, which is nice. I haven't actually gotten to watch through any of this. So we're gonna pinch to drag to blow up our timeline so we can look at our footage. Then you can drag this way to actually go forward and backwards in your timeline. Now, when you ingest footage, it automatically drops it in and sets everything from one to the next. So this is clip number 1, it's clip number 2, and so on. So we're gonna start with the first clip, see if we like it. Very nice, slow-mo, that's great. I don't really need anything past there, so now I'm gonna select this out point and I can drag it just like this. So I can extend it or make it shorter, and then it snaps to that playhead right there, which is really, really nice. So, and I really like the start of that too with it being a little faster. So we're gonna leave that, we're gonna keep that. Oh, this is the exact same shot and I don't actually need it. So I'm gonna click and hold it, and then I'm gonna hit delete. So there we have that. We're gonna move on to the next clip right here. That's my friend right there. Like that, we're just gonna keep that as is. Oop, a hiking shot. You got the sun flare there, which is nice. The sun flare is great. One thing that we need to do for all of this, I'm actually gonna bring in music in just a second. However, since we're using music, we're not gonna use any of the audio that actually came with any of this footage. So here's what we're gonna do. We're going to expand audio on the clip, and this expands it on everything. Now what I'm able to do is I'm able to separate the audio. And as I separate out this audio per track, I get to go in and I can actually delete the audio because I actually don't want the audio. So now as I play it, you see that it's gonna play the footage. However, it's not actually playing the audio, which is great. We're gonna take all that out for this specific project and we're gonna drop in music. So now I'm gonna go through all this footage. We're gonna zoom through this really quickly. Once I have everything selected down, then we'll come back. All right, so now I've sourced all the footage. We have about 40 seconds worth and we need to add our audio tracks. We're gonna go back up here to the add section. We're gonna add our media. I preloaded an audio track in our Creative Cloud online subscription drive. So if you have Creative Cloud, you can add files in there. So we're gonna go into Creative Cloud in our Rush folder that I created. It takes a second to load sometimes, so here it is right there. We're gonna click add, it's preparing media. Now it dropped it in. So we have our track in there, and if we hit play now, we'll hear the audio. Fantastic. So now I'm gonna decide how long I want this to be. I think we're gonna make this a 15-second video so I can put it on Instagram stories later. So I'm gonna go ahead and chop down my audio, then I'm gonna edit the video to that music track. That actually works really nicely just to cut at that 15-second mark. You can see where the time is up here. So there's 14 there, 16 there. You can also see the time code right there. So I'm just gonna go, I'm gonna scroll here to 15 seconds, just like that. I'm gonna select my audio track, drag over, it's gonna snap back to that playhead, and now we have a perfect length 15-second song. I'm gonna try to edit to the beat. It's a little bit harder on a mobile device, but you can still do it, and I'm just gonna do that by playing and pausing. Stop there, snap that back. If you don't want all these to play in order, you can rearrange this. So I think the narrative we're gonna go with here, again, this is the first time really seeing this footage. Right now we have all of the footage that's following a person around right up front. I don't think I want that. I think I want us to start off with some of this more nature landscaped based footage. So it's almost like they're driving in to go on a hike and then we're actually gonna see them. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start off with a driving shot. We're gonna grab this one right here. This is the one I like. I'm gonna click and hold it, and then I'm gonna get to drag this to the front of our video. Drop that right there. Make sure our song snaps to that. We're just gonna move all of these videos over right after that initial video. I think I'm actually gonna start with this one. Cut down. All right, there we go. I trimmed down all those clips, so now our videos match the length of the whole piece. Now that we have all that cut down, we're actually gonna make this a vertical video clip since it's for Instagram stories. So I'm just gonna go right up here and I'm gonna change our mode to portrait mode. So obviously that shifts everything, and now there's these black bars, we don't want those. So I'm gonna walk through and we're gonna scale up and reposition all of these clips, then we're gonna color them. How we do this is we go into our transform section right over here, we select the video clip, and then we're gonna scale this video clip. So we're gonna click this maintain proportions, because if you turn that off, we can scale the width, but then it gets all distorted. We don't want any of that. So we're gonna change this back to 50, maintain proportions, and then we're just gonna blow this up until it fills the screen. And then we're gonna move the position of it horizontally based off of where we want that to lay in the frame. So like the sun over here, so we're gonna move that in. Awesome, so now that we've done that, we're gonna play it through. I'm gonna show you what it looks like again. So. Now we need to color this. So we're gonna go through, we're gonna switch from this panel right here, which is called the transform panel, into this panel up here, which is the color panel. Now, Adobe Rush is super awesome and gives you a bunch of built-in color presets that you can use. And honestly, they're pretty solid. So we're just gonna go to a base clip and we're gonna look at, say we're gonna look at this one and we're gonna say, what does that cinematic look like? Ooh, that's really contrasty, really saturated. It's okay, I don't love it. That film look is all right. Kodak is nice. Gonna bounce through all of these. Oh, gold, that's the one. We're gonna go with SL Gold. So we're gonna go with that. You can change the intensity up here of how much you want this to be affected. So actually, now that I think about it, let's try cinematic again. And then let's just back off that intensity to, let's say, a good 58. Now we're gonna do 60. So there we go. I honestly really like how that looks. So there is those built-in presets, but if you collapse that and go into this edit panel, you can also change the basic settings of each of these clips, like your exposure, contrast, highlight, shadows, and all that fun stuff. This looks really nice, and we're actually gonna use this as our template for all of our other pieces. We're gonna go over here, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna hit preset, cinematic, we're gonna take this down to 60. Looks really, really nice. We can change the temperature here and make this like a really warm sunset if we wanted to. Just gonna balance that out a little bit. The saturation's really, really nice. Tweak that exposure again a little bit more. Looks awesome. We're gonna go into our next clip and we're just gonna do the same thing. This is kind of just a rinse and repeat type situation. So I like to just kind of select one preset and use that just as our default, and then edit them and tweak them as necessary per clip, since every clip is a little bit different. So we're just gonna go in, exposure, temperature, back down the contrast on this one just a little bit, up those shadows a tad. Back down that saturation because it was just a little bit more saturated than the other clips. And again, rinse and repeat. So I'm just gonna speed through this really quickly now that you have a good idea of what we're doing. I'm gonna pause on this clip really quickly because I wanna show you this. So this clip is a little bit more purple, a little bit more magenta. So we're just gonna take this tint shift, make that a little bit more green. That looks a whole lot better. So make sure you go through the tint, white balance, exposure, and all of these settings for each clip. It really can make a huge difference. Now that we did that, let's play this back again and check out the difference between what this looks like versus what the uncolored version looked like. Very awesome. If I wanted to, I could go in and I could potentially add a title. So they have a whole bunch of built-in default templates that you can use as a title. So let's just grab this one right there. And as you'll notice, this actually puts this on a layer above all of your video tracks. And there's a very important reason for that. You're obviously gonna want this to be over your video because that's what's gonna look best. So we're gonna drag this over. And as right now, you can tell it just says title right there. Let's just add a title to the beginning of this. We're gonna pretend like this is just a normal Saturday morning for these guys. So we're actually gonna title this My Saturday Morning. So go in right here, double tap there, and then this pops up. You can just type in your titles. Now, if we want to, we could actually go in on this clip and hit the transform, and we could change where we wanted it. So I could change this right here. Now, as you can see, there's this black behind this title in the clip, and we actually are gonna go ahead and take that out. So we're gonna go into the edit section of this title. We can hit shape right here, and as you can see, there's this color fill right there. As we knock that off, that's what it does. Now, we might not necessarily want to take it all off, so let's just play with this for a second. So I can click in here. As you can see, it's black right here, and if we change this, it would make it green because that's where we are in the color spectrum. But what if we went center, and then right here, as you can see, we could actually put some white in there if we wanted to, which is super, super cool. And you can see there's different ways we can do this. So we're actually gonna do shades. We can select a different shade that we wanted right behind that. That's awesome. Let's just say we actually wanted it to be this blue tint, but we're gonna make it fairly dark. We can do that if we wanted to. Now, I don't actually want this title for my story, so we're actually gonna take this, we're gonna delete this, gonna close that section down right there. So last thing I wanna do is I wanna make sure that you knew how to change the audio track around in your project and do some settings, affect the volume, and some other things. So you can go in, you can select your track, and then right here, you can select your audio panel. Just drop down this basic section. As you can see, there's this clip volume. So it's defaults to 50. I can go all the way up to 100. It's decent, a little bit louder. Obviously, if I went to 0, you can't hear it at all, so that's no fun. So we're gonna just go right back to 50, play it. Sounds awesome. There is this advanced section though. And there's this auto volume option that we can go in there. If we turn this off, we can actually see, I think it was actually, as we had the auto volume on, it was dropping that audio a little bit. That defaults on, so it's really good to know that that's there. Very awesome. We can also hit balance sound if we want to, and that's kind of compressing and limiting the sound and making sure it's very similar all the way around. There's a bunch of great stuff in here. You can enhance speech if it's a dialogue track, reduce echo if it's a dialogue track, a lot of great things. Everything though sounds really good right now, so I'm just gonna leave this, bounce out of that panel, and honestly, I think we're done. I'm really happy with this. So we have to go on to our final part. The most important part of editing your video in Premiere Rush is getting it out of Rush and onto Instagram, your socials, or wherever you're putting it. In order to do that, you go to the share section up here. It says ready to export. Then there's this quality settings option. Now there's a few presets in here. I'm just gonna hit automatic. Premiere does a really good job of exporting and making everything look beautiful and it being a good file size under the automatic preset. But if you needed to, you could drop it down and say 720 match frame rate, or you can default it to 30, same thing with 1080 and 30 FPS. But again, I'm just gonna leave it automatic, which right now it has it at 1080 by 1920, so that's 1080 pixels wide, 1920 high, and at a frame rate of 30 frames per second. So I'm gonna hit export there. Now, this is super important. Do not close Rush or exit out of the application during this process, because if you do, it's gonna cancel your export. Now it's done exporting, so we're actually just gonna bounce over here to our photos section, click in here, and there's our story right there. Turn the volume on really quickly, it over. That is a mobile video workflow in Adobe Premiere Rush. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, you don't need fancy cameras or even a laptop or a computer in order to make great videos. So take these techniques, go out there, make some amazing videos. Thanks, guys.